What's up, everybody? Today I'm here to talk about Pinocchio. This will be my spoiler-filled review. I guess there's no point in doing a non-spoiler review for Pinocchio, mostly because, well, it's a story that everyone knows. So here we have another live-action adaptation by Disney, and if you have a look at the Rotten Tomatoes, I was quite shocked to discover that the critics and the fans actually agree. They both hate the movie. I thought this would have a lower score, but when I looked at Rotten Tomatoes, I didn't know it was going to be that low. It seems like the critics hate it even more than the fans. But let's talk about the movie. Well, first and foremost, the Pinocchio animation, it's very beloved and a story that is known. I think everyone knows the story, come on. And what's been going on with all these live actions is mainly one thing. Like, they're just another cheap cash grab. It's not really something that they are... first and foremost, they're never doing the story the way that it was originally imagined. And that's the first thing that starts pissing people off. They always want to change things and add characters. And Pinocchio wasn't different. So here we have a movie that it's so forgettable that literally 2 days from now I won't remember what happened on it. And it's just not magical. I feel like a lot of these original animations, such as The Lion King, they are just stuck with us, mostly because they're so magical. The story is so relatable and it's so heartfelt, and a lot of these feelings are missing in entertainment nowadays, mostly because these creators are just doing a copy paste and a poorly copy paste of the original, creating wooden characters that no pun intended. Of course we're talking about Pinocchio, but they're just creating these characters that no one relates, or even creating new characters that have not even like adds anything to the plot. Not everything is negative, but it's a very forgettable film. It's not magical to the point that, oh, I want to rewatch this. I don't think it will catch children's or anyone's attention. And that's a big issue. It's not just because it's a kid's film that it needs to be boring. I mean, The Lion King is a huge reference point for animation. That movie works for all ages, for all type of people. I mean, everyone loves The Lion King. And the live action, at least in my opinion, was also terrible. I mean, I gave it a bad review. I hated it. The new edition song, I just like, if you have something original, don't mess with it. The formula already worked. You should change. You just change the formula when things aren't working. But if you have something that is so beloved, why are you going to change it? And if you're going to change it for the better, yes, but that was not the case here with Pinocchio. So we have Tom Hanks playing Geppetto, and to be quite honest, he was very, very similar to the animation. I mean, he did reminded me a lot of Geppetto, and I had no issue with his portrayal of the character. Pinocchio was also very cute. The animation, sometimes it was really good, but it wasn't like, whoa, the best thing. Jiminy Cricket, it was probably the best character in my opinion. He was very entertaining. He's the narrator in the film. Now, what didn't quite work in this movie? Well, first and foremost, they did change a lot of the characters. They added characters that basically add nothing to the plot, and I think that's just a big no-no. I mean, if you are going to change something from the original, at least do something that makes sense within the storyline. But these new characters that were added, if you take them out, they literally didn't add anything to the story itself. I think another big mistake of this movie is that it played safe. It's not as scary as the original animation. I mean, we still have sort of all the plot lines that Pinocchio goes through in the animation. He does go to Pleasant Island. There's the whole donkey storyline, but it's not as scary as in the animation. And I think the biggest issue is also that I mean, they played so safe that the movie just doesn't have any moment where you're just scared for a Pinocchio or you're concerned. It's just like those type of movies that you can literally just cook and just put on the background and not really pay attention. That's how I felt. And like I said, again, I'm gonna say, you cannot tell me just because it's a kids movie and you cannot just judge it and be so critical. I completely disagree. There's so many good children's films that even nowadays are so stuck with me. But Pinocchio, for instance, they really didn't do a great job. The other moment that was very disappointing for me was the whole whale storyline. You know, we all know that they get swollen by a massive monster, sea monster. And it is played very differently here. The sound effect is different. Like I said, everything in this movie is just like really pretty and nicely tidyable, but it's just like, it has no soul. I was a little surprised how boring it was. And I guess the biggest change was that towards the end, for instance, it's not very clear that Pinocchio becomes a boy, a real boy. I mean, the whole story of Pinocchio is that he is this wooden boy. Geppetto created him, and he wanted to become real. And obviously, he's talking a lot about that throughout the movie, but towards the end, I actually saw a video in which someone told me he does become a real boy, but it's so subtle that you actually have to stop to see it. I just don't think they should have done that. You know, I mean, the whole story of Pinocchio is not just stay as you are. I guess it's just like nowadays writers writing original storyline, they just don't like it. And instead of just, you know, if you're gonna adapt, just adapt, do the same story. Why do you have to change? Towards the end, he becomes a real boy, but it's just so subtle. I barely even noticed. And I was very surprised that they ended like that. So, do I recommend this movie? I'd say probably not. I mean, it's there on Disney Plus, so if you have Disney Plus, go ahead and watch it and let me know what you think. But I would totally say stick with the original because it's a way better movie. It's scary. It has funny moments. It has touching moments. It has heartfelt moments, and all of these things are missing in this live action animation. But anyways, guys, drop your comments down below. Let me know what you think. Have you seen Pinocchio? Will you see Pinocchio? I'd love to hear your thoughts. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that thumbs up, subscribe for more, and I'll see you next time. Bye.